I do question that part about your identity. I can't even see who you changed. Nothing else needs to change. Okay? Not nature, not nothing. Okay? There's a invincibility that I have convinced myself that I have, that I will overcome anything and everything that needs to be to get to my goal. So you speak of a concept that I can't even relate to that. And maybe that's a flaw for me.
I think it's just personality. It's you, because I can totally relate to the identity crisis. I've gone through it. So I wouldn't see it as a flaw in you. I see it as that you just, handled things differently in your life and had a different sense of self that came from a very early age. And I think coming with some support from your family.
Yeah.
We both came from families where we didn't really feel that we more felt like we had to be who they thought we should be instead of who we were, so we didn't know who we were.
Okay.
So,
And my mother told me to go build myself strong enough.
Right.
So
you
I
had that.
Yeah, so maybe that's why I can't even relate.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So-
that's probably true. My parents wanted me to follow the rules.
Yeah.
They wanted me to turn out the way they wanted me to turn out, so that I would reflect good on them,
Okay,
so that they could be said that they were good parents.
okay, I got you.
That didn't happen.
Okay, folks, so you can see we are entrenched in conversation here. And this is the Tao of Cottonwood again for people tuning in. I'm with Kaleah Laroche and Arvel, and we're just talking about things. You guys have a new center.
Yes.
Can you tell us something about that?
Well, right now it's somewhat of a virtual center, which I started a few years back as just a place to raise awareness. So I called it New Earth Awareness, and then we decided to create a center from that, but just to raise awareness and consciousness so that we can, as Arvel was talking about earlier, so that we can move with the planet, because the planet is going through her own ascension process, raising her vibration.
Right.
And that means things are going, faster and faster, and we have to keep up with that within ourselves. What that's doing, it's bringing the shadow of humanity up to be purged, in a sense, because we can't survive with a shadow. As a human being, we can't survive with the shadow. It'll destroy us. We're in the 6th mass extinction of the planet right now. Species are just going away right and left. We've had billions and millions more that are on the verge, and we're one of them. We are one of the species that's on the verge of extinction. So, we have to shift or get off the planet. And I felt the urgency of that need to shift, which is why I started working with this New Earth Awareness. Is that we have there's an urgency here, is that we have to change from the inside out. We have to raise our vibration. We have to find a way to let go of that fear, to confront it, but also to be able to sit with what's happening on the inside, whatever pain is coming up, whatever shadows are coming up, that we have to be able to really be present with that, rather than try to run from it or use addictions or distractions.
So you're saying we should treat the pain rather than to look for the cause of the pain and remove the cause. What are we? Because there's 2 different methodologies there.
Well, I think most of us have an idea what the cause is of our pain. I think most of us can relate to what the cause might be.
Mm-hmm.
especially if we've done any work with core wounds and we've gone back to core wounds from our early childhood.
Right.
We incur these wounds and
Right.
we know, well, it's because I didn't get the love I wanted, or I never really felt like I was praised or encouraged,
Right.
or whatever it is. So then we have all these triggers in our adult life that remind us of what we weren't getting as children, and so there's this whole dynamic. But it's, what do we do with it when it surfaces, when it shows up? And most people automatically check out, and it becomes it's habitual that we check out. It's habitual that people will go for a drink, or they'll go for a drug, or they'll go for a run, or they'll do something. They'll go to the internet.
That's self-medication.
Yeah.
We all do that.
Yeah. But the thing is that if you're going to really work through that pain, you have to be present with it. You have to be willing to say, this hurts. Oh, I feel it. I feel this pain and it hurts. And allow it to be there. Be present with it. And the more that you're present with it, the more it just kind of works itself out.
Yeah.
It just kind of dissipates.
Okay.
And I do this with clients. I take them through a process where their pain could be like a 10, from a 1 to a 10. And then when we do this process of, I feel sad. I feel really, really sad. Oh, I feel so sad. I take them into that, let them identify where it is in the body and be with it. And then after they do that for a while, I say, so where are you on the scale?
Right.
And they'll say, I'm at a 2. I was at a 10 and now I'm at a 2.
Okay.
There's also another aspect that I've discovered through my relationship with Kaleah, and that's the story.
Mm-hmm.
The power of the story and its relationship to the emotions that are carrying to cause us this pain.
Okay.
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, yeah. And this might have to do with what you were talking about, Gary, is that when we feel pain or discomfort, we usually scan our mind. We go into the mind. So what we do is we exit the body. We go to the head and we go, what's the story? Why do I feel this?
Mm-hmm.
So when you say, why do I feel this? Well, it's because he did this to me. And then the focus is on the story and not on the pain.
Yeah, but that's an excuse. And we know that.
Right, but that's
so
what most
we
people
don't do that. Yeah, a lot of us don't. Okay? And that's a reality. A lot of us don't.
Yeah.
And we say, okay, I'm not going to use excuses.
Not going to use excuses or go into the story. But that is a big part of my work, and it's a big part of what we work on together.
Yeah, I discovered that the story was adding fuel to the emotion. So if I was angry and I told myself that story that I've always told myself, the anger just built and built and built. But when I took the story away,
that's the part I'm telling you. Don't fall for that.
Right. Don't let that story seduce you.
Ever.
Because then there is no fuel for the emotion. And there's just, okay, now there's just this anger. And it can't support itself. It naturally dies away without the story.
Absolutely.
The story is the fuel. Yeah.
Okay. So I might have stumbled upon a way to get by, huh? As a kid growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because it worked, so.
Yeah. Then you're doing okay, Gary.
Thank you. You talk about the core, the pain, and I handled that different. I talk to the body as if it's separate, okay?
Right.
And I treat myself as though I'm a spirit and I'm living with the body, and I communicate and I ask of it, and it's my friend, because it never fails me. No matter what's happening with it, it'll do what I ask it to do. It'll find a way to get up and get going and do stuff. So I have a relationship with it.
That's powerful.
And I say it has that. Well, we have the cerebral cortex, which is our larger, and then we have one smaller underneath. That one runs things. That brain there is the one I talk to, I think, because that runs the heart and all of the other the chakras. Each organ So it's running things. So I communicate with it and I say, this is what we're going to do. And it'll say, well, damn, but okay. And we go do it.
I hear that.
Because sometimes it's hurting.
Mm-hmm.
But you say, well, that's just another excuse.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Or I'm not rich enough. Well, that's another excuse. I'm not smart enough. No, we'll find a way around it.
Yeah.
And that's the part I say is my faith. And that's the part that the New Earth
Center.
That is the part that's going to help the community.
I think practical things, we talk about ascension, we talk about fifth dimension, we talk about things like that, but the real work is the inside work.
Yes.
Because we're not going anywhere
right.
if we don't do the inner work. And so I think the New Earth Center really, it's not only about doing the inner work, which is necessary to go to a higher level of functioning and being able to embrace more love. Really, because it's all about love. Love is that vibration we're going up to, where that we can be in, and an example of something that we did last night is so we had a gathering, and it was a Thanksgiving gathering, and we always have drum circles and music and things like that with our gatherings, and we're not letting COVID stop us from feeding our souls,
right,
and connecting and communicating with each other, because we realize we really need that connection.
right.
And if it's our last day on earth, we want to know that we've got this connection. So we had this circle in which there was so much love. And the vibration through the drumming, through the music, through the tones, through everything we were doing just went up, 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 and everybody felt it.
Okay.
And we were all so blissed out by the end of the evening. And it's like, this raises the vibration.
Okay.
This gathering, this drumming, this allowing the spirit to be unleashed and to dance in that energy and to embrace each other and love each other and allow each other an opportunity to express their gifts. So that's something we're doing with the New Earth Center.
Unleashing the spirit. I never felt my spirit was shackled.
Well, you're a very unique breed, Gary. You always were. It's like.
So, and that's why I've been getting by, huh?
Yeah.
Because I get it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of us do feel that our spirits have been shackled, that we weren't allowed a voice.
Okay.
That if we walked our talk or did what was true to ourselves, that we would get criticized or judged or torn down in some way. So these are things that
I do see.
I know Arvel and I have had to overcome in our own childhoods. We had to overcome this, and I know a lot of other people have had to overcome these restrictions to just being free with who we are in our expression.
Okay.
That's where a lot of my anger came from, was my parents beating me down. Raising me like a piece of livestock.
Okay.
What they used to say on the farm was, beat the spirit out of the horse.
Okay.
So that you can control the horse. Well, they use the same approach on us kids. They beat us down.
Yeah.
And I was so angry with them about that for so long, because I was just a good boy. And they didn't need that heavy-handed, I didn't need that heavy-handed approach. All I needed was a little love and support, and I could get by. But so it's taken me a long time to overcome that kind of hate, that kind of anger, resentment towards my parents. It's taken a long time, and it's taken a lifetime. But maybe that's my path.
Right.
Maybe that was the whole reason I'm here, is to walk that path and find my way back.
Okay.
And learn to really be a bird.
And fly.
And flying. No. Why walking? Huh?
Why walk when you can fly?
Why walk when you can fly? That's a good analogy.
Well, when Arvel showed up in my life in the most unique way. You know, we kind of had this analogy that he came in the door with his cage, his bird cage, and gave me the key, and I said, no, we're gonna open that door. You're free.
Right.
You make your own choices.
Right.
You do what
Fly,
your heart
Robin,
wants to
fly.
do. You fly.
Fly, baby.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So
That's beautiful.
So the analogy of the caged bird and him being a bird, you know, that it's been all about learning how to fly and be free and make his own choices.
Maybe that's my identity.
Our whole lives have been about learning how to fly.
Yeah.
Right. That's the takeaway that I always had. You know, I gotta get ready for something. You know, you're always preparing, grabbing more knowledge, grabbing more skills, like I was saying, tools, so I can help. And I think help is my key. I think that's the thing that I do.
I think you have the tools. I think you were given the tools. From what I understand about your childhood, that you were given the tools. I think so many of us weren't.
I think my parents gave me the tools.
They did, according to your story that I'm privileged to know. And that is your message, I believe. You can share that message with the world. That will help a lot of people.
You know what's crazy? I look at my family, my kids, and I see the way that they raise their kids. And I say, I got lucky. Because I attribute that to luck. And I see when they take their kids to help other people, like the food banks and stuff, they do their things too. So
that's cool.
I say, I got lucky. Rather than I got a skill. Okay. I think it's luck.
Well, that's humility.
Okay, then that's a tool too. Okay.
Well, it is.
And I have great grandchildren now, and I'm looking forward to being able to hand them something, a tool that will help them navigate this crazy out here. You know, something that will give them solace, you know, so make them strong. That's what I'm looking for. The proton pill, the Superman's cape, you know. I'm looking for those things so that I might pass them along to whomever is interested in the story, because some people are. Some people, and I realize my novelty gets me in the door. So my story is the work. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm building on it.
That's great.
And today is an example, talking with the two of you. This adds to the story. And anyone who could look us up, because we are online there, they'll benefit.
How would they look you up online?
I'm Dow of Cottonwood. You could go with .com if you want, or you could go with a .org if you want, or you could go to Facebook and say Dow of Cottonwood.
There's not too many Dows of Cottonwood.
There's none other than me. None other than me. And that's the way it should be, because there's no one ever going to be like me.
True.
That's right.
And there's no one
they
that
broke
has
the
ever
mold
been.
when you came along.
What mold? We patched me together. And I did the patching. So.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. And I think that's a good thing. And I kind of pass that along, raising my sons and my daughter. You know, build you. Make you the you that you're proud of, that you don't, you know, that you don't back away from.
That's amazing advice.
It
It'd
is
be amazing to leave your children with the build you instead of the be me.
Or go find yourself. I see that there's a popular thought about in Australia. They say the walkabout. walk until you find you.
You're going to get a lot of blisters.
Right. It's so much easier to make you, make yourself strong. And that would be my advice while you were in a mode of regrouping, trying to get that energy back. Build yourself strong, build yourself irresistible, build all those things that you need in you to be the successful person that you're after, because we all have a version of what we want. Right, and there's 8 billion of us out here, so there's a lot of activity. So pick it, live it, be it.
I think part of my journey has been that when I'm on stage and I'm playing music, I'm locked into my higher self. I'm channeling that love, that energy while I'm on stage. The challenge was, who am I when I'm off stage?
Right.
Because I wasn't that person off stage. I was some 3D version of Arvel.
Okay.
And so I am now working to incorporate that higher self when I'm on stage into my daily life, who I am now. And that's been a major part of my work for several years now, and continues.
Maintaining that connection.
Yes, maintaining that connection.
Yeah, with the divine, with source.
It does get easier over time, and then you forget about it, and it's part of your nature.
Then
is who you are.
That's
I are Gary, and that won't change. The silliness is there always. The seriousness is always there. The doubt is never there. The doubt and uncertainty is never there. That's the part where I whip out my faith always. I say, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm going to do, and I know the way to get there. So I just leave that alone. The doubt and uncertainty, it's gone.
Well, that's another thing that makes you very unique, is that I think we all could be working on having less doubt and uncertainty in that faith that you're talking about, to know that, just like what Arvel said earlier, it's going to be okay. We're going to be okay no matter what.
But you got to believe that. That's the key.
Right.
You can't just say that.
Well, that's faith. The faith is the belief.
Right.
We can have the faith that everything's going to be okay, even if we check out and go to the next place.
Whatever.
It's going to be cool. It's going to be awesome.
Right.
So, that we just have to have faith in that spirit that is us, and
also
we're going to be all right.
Also, you say you have to believe it. You can't just say it, but by saying it as if in a mantra, it then becomes part of the cell memory of the body, of the mind.
And it reinforces
it. And then life becomes more of an adventure. Instead of worrying about what's going to happen because this is broke down or something.
Right.
Then it becomes an adventure of waiting to see how it's going to work out, because it's going to work out, but how it's going to work out, we don't know.
Right.
And so that is where the joy of living comes in, I believe, is watching, waiting, seeing how it's going to work out.
So, Kaleah, when you are dealing with others and the narcissistic part of it, how does that manifest when they finally come to an enlightenment of that they're the real issue?
No, I don't work with the narcissists.
You don't?
I work with the people that have been torn apart by the narcissists.
But aren't they one and the same? If you're attracted to a thing, it is likely that you are.
Not necessarily. It might be that you're the opposite of that. So I deal with people that are highly empathic.
Okay.
And the narcissist has no empathy.
Okay.
So there is an attraction of opposites. But the one that's very empathic will say, well, how could this other person do that to me? I would never do that to them. And that is true. They never would. Because they, I'm working with people that are often highly codependent, which can equal being highly caring, that they might care too much or give too much of themselves.
Right.
Where a narcissist is a taker. So you have the opposites. These are opposite extremes.
Okay.
The giver, the taker, the empath, the lack of empathy, the one that is really trying so hard to love this other person, and that one that cannot love, that really can't love, they can't even really love themselves. So narcissism is a big problem on our planet. It's a really huge problem. And I think that's part of what has to crumble for us to move up in vibration is this narcissism. It's lot larger numbers than most of us know.
Right.
I mean, all of our political leaders and a lot of our spiritual leaders and a lot of our heads of corporation are highly narcissistic, which is completely self-absorbed, self-centered, and are there for their own advancement and agenda without caring about who they take down, without caring who they step on, without caring who's going to be affected by their decisions. Like big money makes a lot of decisions. And, it's like, how much profit can we make with this? Well, what about, this is harmful to the people. We don't care if it's harmful to the people. How much profit can we make? And that's narcissism in a nutshell.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Whereas those that are not narcissistic are like, well, we do care about the people. They eat this, they're going to get sick.
So narcissism is a social disease.
That might be a good way to put it.
and you're treating it.
I am treating the people that are ripped apart by it. The narcissist would never care to come to me for help because they don't have a problem. It's everybody else that has the problem.
Okay. So it is a disease.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Right. So I work with the people who were married to the narcissist, involved in a relationship. Maybe it's a parent. The narcissist might be a parent. It might be a boss. But that they've, it has a way of stripping people down, breaking their confidence. Almost the way that the cult, about cult psychology, how it breaks people down through methodologies that are proven to work, that are brainwashing, where little by little, that person starts to lose a sense of who they are and what their truth is. And that doubt comes in.
Okay.
And that doubt starts to run them and they don't know what's real anymore. And so I work with people to kind of reclaim themselves and their souls and break the addictions that they have to these relationships and people, because there is addictions, just like an abused woman is addicted to her abuser in some way. She's addicted to needing those crumbs that he gives her of hope or that she's okay.
But doesn't that person fall back into that same habit later?
Well, they can if they're not on that path upward. We have to stay true to the path.
Ooh, that's scary because I just flashed on, we have another social disease of the pedophiles.
Oh my goodness.
And even when you stick them in prison for years and they come back out, they still do the same thing.
But what kind of rehabilitation is there in the prisons? We talked about this in our last talk.
I know.
There is none.
There is none, and that's our problem.
Right. And some people just can't be rehabilitated too.
Now see, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So if that is the true case, narcissists can't be rehabilitated.
Most of them can't.
Okay.
The majority.
What do we do with them?
Well, we talked about this last time too.
Okay.
Is I think we stop feeding the beast. When we can recognize it, we stop feeding, because we are food to these people. Where even the people that are highly narcissistic, that are heads of corporation and such, that are maybe coming up with a product that's harmful to people, but it'll make them a lot of money, and they're not disclosing that it's harmful to people.
Right.
If we do our homework and we learn, like Monsanto, which is now Bayer.
I know.
Yeah. So Monsanto created these poisons, in a sense, these toxins. These things are really bad for our health, and it's proven. Well, we have to do our homework to know that this stuff is bad for us, and we don't feed it. We don't feed it. We don't buy it. We don't give money to this.
Right.
So I think the best solution is not to feed the beast. Recognize where you're giving something energy, where you're giving something your money.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to have to be a lot more mindful and diligent about where we spend our attention
Yes.
and our money.
Yes. And a lot of us have noticed that about the beast, and we call that the GMOs. So
Yeah.
we no longer try to participate in that activity. But the beast got that big for a reason, and it does service society, okay? And society can't afford to do anything but deal with the beast.
Right.
So, we can't just say, like Arvel mentioned about, which wolf do you feed?
Mm-hmm.
It's a toss-up. We're we don't have a choice sometimes. And when you don't have a choice, then what?
What do you mean we don't have a choice? We always have a choice.
If you can't afford to eat organic food, and you have to eat the crap that they provide us with, and if you go into the inner cities, you will see restaurants like McDonald's and Taco Bell's and all these junky
Food
things.
deserts.
And you can't get good food.
Right.
So you don't always have a choice.
Well, that's the product of the consciousness of the area too. I mean, there are, there are places that are extremely poverty stricken, where somebody has come in and taught them how to nourish the soils and grow their own food and come up with water supplies. And that has to do with the interest of the people. I mean, there's somebody helping them, but there are solutions where we can help people learn how to grow their own food and take care of themselves in a better way. I think there's always a choice. We just might not always be aware of what that choice is. So when you say some people can't afford organic, I tend to have the belief we can't afford not to eat
I agree
organic,
with you there.
because for one, every time we buy something organic, we're supporting the organic growers instead of the chemical growers.
Right.
And if we look at the soil and how our food's being grown, that's important too. How are people growing the food, and how are they what's their energy and their beliefs around it.
Mm-hmm.
That what you might spend in McDonald's today, you're going to spend a whole lot more in your doctor bills in the future.
Right.
So when I say you can't afford not to, if you want to be healthy and youthful and vibrant and, operating at a higher frequency, you need to, even if you eat less, which most people could afford to do, right?
Right.
Then eat more of this and less of that. It's all going to balance out in a sense. You can go buy organic rice and beans for not very much money.
Okay.
And you can eat really well.
Okay.
So that's how I feel about that.
All right. And there is a lot of movements. People are growing vegetables on the rooftops.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
A lot of the apartment buildings, they start co-ops, so that they will do a product for a store in their neighborhood, and the next building will do a different product for the same store. So we've gone back to kind of like a barter system that we used to have, where
Yeah, we
And
need
when
that
you
more.
don't have money, but you got something that the rest of the community needs, you, you can participate.
Right.
So there are changes being done, but
Definitely.
there's still that loneliness and the part there where some people they're annexed, they're shut out, they're pushed to the side, and they can't afford to compete.
Are
They
you
just
are
they
you
can't.
talking about people in general or businesses
I'm
or
talking about people in general because I do talk to people from all over. Okay,
Mhm.
and Syria. Okay, Africa, parts of different countries in Africa. Um, China's a big one. They are they're at the foremost right now, the front runners.
Mhm.
But there's crazy poverty there, just like people look at America and say America, America, but there's crazy poverty here.
Yeah.
So. Uh,
Yeah.
There's a reality there that, like you're saying, you can't afford not to, but you can't always afford to do it either.
Well, yeah, I understand what you're talking about when it comes to some of these
You got
areas that are really, really, really poverty stricken.
right.
They don't, there's also a consciousness that comes with that, where some people are going to just resign themselves and to always being in that place, where some people actually move out of it.
Right.
I think the people that move out of it, it's really, really difficult. It's one of the greatest challenges of their life is to find a way to leave that.
And the worst part is when they get here to our border and we take their kids from them. Yeah.
That's another topic.
Yeah, no. This is humanity that we're dealing with. And
Yeah.
that's what I deal with, the whole of humanity. I don't just cherry pick and find the little nice areas and talk about them. I'm dealing with us as a whole.
And there's a real dark side to humanity when we're talking about the narcissism and the sociopathy, the sociopaths of the world,
right.
Which are a lot of these leaders, these political leaders. And, that's something that I believe is on the table to heal if we are going to move up in consciousness. This can't come with us. This real dark.
What do we do with them?
Leave them behind. Shift
or
get off the planet. We leave them behind. We quit feeding them. We quit giving them so much energy, so much attention, and we start taking matters into our own hands in a lot of ways. And I don't have all the answers, obviously.
I'm not looking for all of
yeah,
just
but
an opinion.
Yeah, but I do know that we've got a lot of darkness and a lot of people that have goals of destroying people and the planets. You think about food that we ship to war-torn, poverty-stricken areas that get intercepted and taken from the people that were supposed to have it. Those are people that have really sinister, dark intentions. They don't want the people to feed, to be fed. They want to starve them. What kind of mindset wants people
right.
to starve?
Right.
And that's the stuff that has to go away. Those are the weeds of society.
Right.
And sure, I know that some spiritual beliefs are, well, it's all a part of us. I say let's get real and own that we have a lot of goodness inside of us. And most of us aren't like that. Most of us don't carry that kind of darkness in us. We have shadows.
Yes.
We've got stuff we have to deal with. But we want the world to be a peaceful, loving place where everybody wins and everybody is nurtured and everybody is thriving. Because we recognize that when everybody's thriving,
we all do better.
We all do better.
But in there lies my frustration. I see a people that want to do better. I see a people who want to help, but I see a people who aren't helping. We have Detroit. They don't have water. Come on, this is America. This is a big ass city.
Right.
We don't even have clean drinking water. Okay, the government's not doing anything. It's been over a year.
So the people are going to have to do something.
And we're not doing anything. Okay.
Well, I don't live in Detroit. The people of Detroit
But
need
you
to do
don't
something.
have to, but you're here.
Right.
Okay. All of the stuff this year, especially some of the violence activities that was shown about police brutality and police killing. And look what it took to get people to come to action and say, whoa, we got to stop this. Okay, That's the part, yeah, you're not part of that, but if you're not helping, you're kind of part of it. You're enabling it. Okay.
In some ways, but Gary, the way I see it is that I of my own self can't go to all the areas that need help in the world. I can hold all these areas in prayer, but I have to do my part. And what is my part? So I think we all have to do that. We have to decide what can we do. I'm working with the soul of humanity right now. That's my part.
Okay.
And I think that if there's a problem in an area like a lack of water, why aren't the people in that area getting together to solve the problem? Or somebody that does feel that that's their mission, to work with clean water, because there are people that's their mission.
There's people trucking water in there.
Yeah.
It's people trying to do something, but it's the government that should have done something.
Well,
that's the point.
That
and
government
like you said,
is
come
like,
on.
We can't give the government that power because I get that.
Right.
But if we're waiting around for the government, like if Arvel was waiting for the government to send him his unemployment check,
he's still waiting.
He's on the streets, right?
Yeah.
You told me
So,
he's still waiting.
He's
right?
still waiting.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can't wait for the government. We've got to jump in there and figure out what we can do with our own resources and how we can support each other in our own communities, because I think we have to take more responsibility in our own communities to solve the problems that are coming up in our own communities.
The grassroots.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
Right.
It starts with us.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I get you. That's a heavy topic.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right. So is there anything you would like to leave us with? Some parting advice, a gesture, a prayer, a hope, anything in particular, Kaleah?
Let's see. If I were to offer something to humanity right now, it would be to don't give up hope and to build community. Our idea that came through Arvel of bringing the tribes together, it's not just the tribes, Native American tribes maybe was where it might have originated, but we have to all come together, even if we're on different ends of the political debate.
We the people.
Or the different ends of the COVID debate about what's really going on here underneath the surface.
Right.
That we've got to really come together and be a community. And that's really what we're trying to create here, is community, where all people are welcome and loved and embraced, and all people's points of view are welcome and loved and embraced. And sometimes that's challenging. So,
yes.
So just leaving people with the idea that we've got to do this together, that no man is an island. We're not here to do this by ourselves. We're here to come together and give each other hope and love each other and embrace each other and hold each other up.
Right. That's cool. Okay, well, Dow of Cottonwood here. And where could the people, how do they reach you?
Well, we've got the New Earth Center website, and that's newearthcenter.org. And I have a website, Kaleah, Laroche.com, and narcissismfree.com for those who are dealing with breaking free from a narcissist or a narcissistic family or narcissistic energy.
Right. And then there's your podcast.
I have a
I've
podcast,
heard your podcast.
Pandora's Box Radio, which is Pandora's box radio.com.
Yeah. Okay, and Arvel, how about you? How do we reach you?
I like the telephone.
Okay, so you're going to give us your phone number or what? Come on. Be careful what you say, brother.
They can reach me through the New Earth Center, through the website, and my email address is, what is my email address? Arvel at thenewearthcenter.com.
No, it's Arvel at newearthcenter.org. It's a .org.
.org.
And there's no "the" in front of it, just to be clear with people.
Okay, Arvel at newearthcenter.org.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Now he knows his email address.
Okay, now he does.
And we have a Facebook.
Yeah, that's right.
New Earth Tribe.
Uh-huh.
Where's that other one? Tweet. The Twitter.
Twitter. We don't have a Twitter account.
We don't
We're
tweet
not
much.
tweeters. Even though he's a bird, he's just
You're
not
not a tweeter.
tweeting.
Like I call. Also, there's my personal website where they can get my music.
Okay.
Which is just arvelbird.com.
Right. Cool like that. Okay, we're putting this to bed, and thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.